I always thought fear came from not knowing the truth. If you could explain something, it stopped being scary. That belief lasted until the summer I worked as a night security guard at an abandoned hospital on the edge of town. The hospital had been closed for nearly 15 years after a fire damaged part of the building. No one died, but strange rumors surrounded the place. People claimed they heard voices in empty hallways and saw figures standing behind broken windows after midnight. I ignored every story because I needed the job. On my first night, the manager handed me a flashlight and a ring of keys. "Just patrol the building every hour," he said. The first few hours were quiet. Long corridors stretched into darkness. Dust covered everything. Every footstep echoed through the halls. By midnight, I was convinced the rumors were nonsense. Then I heard a door slam somewhere on the 4th floor. The building was supposed to be empty. I stopped and listened. Silence. I continued walking until my radio suddenly crackled. A weak voice came through the static. "Hello." I grabbed the radio. "Who's there?" For several seconds, there was nothing. Then the voice returned. "Help me." The transmission ended. I contacted the manager, but he said nobody else was inside the building. Around 2 a.m., I entered an old patient ward. Rows of empty beds filled the room. As I walked between them, I noticed one bed looked completely clean. No dust. No debris. The blanket was neatly folded. When I reached the door, I heard a cough behind me. I froze. Slowly, I turned around. The ward was empty. But the blanket on the clean bed was no longer folded. It looked as if someone had just stood up. The sight of that unfolded blanket sent a chill through my body. I was certain it had been neatly folded only seconds earlier. Slowly, I backed away from the bed and hurried into the hallway. The air felt colder now. Every light seemed dimmer than before. As I walked toward the stairwell, I noticed something scratched into the wall. "Don't go to room 407. The message looked fresh, as if someone had carved it moments ago. I laughed nervously and continued walking, but the warning stayed in my mind. An hour later, I found myself standing outside room 407. I don't know why. Maybe curiosity. Maybe something else. The door was closed. I unlocked it and stepped inside. The room appeared empty. There was an old hospital bed, a rusted cabinet, and a broken chair in the corner. Nothing unusual. Then the door slammed shut behind me. I rushed toward it and grabbed the handle. It wouldn't move. Panic began to rise. Then I heard breathing. Slow. Heavy. Coming from somewhere inside the room. I turned around. The room looked empty. Yet the breathing continued. One breath. Then another. The sound seemed to come from beneath the bed. My flashlight trembled as I pointed it downward. For a moment, I saw nothing. Then pale fingers slowly curled around the edge of the mattress. I stumbled backward. The fingers vanished instantly. My flashlight flickered. The breathing stopped. A second later, the door swung open by itself. I ran. The 4th floor felt endless. Every corridor looked the same. Every shadow seemed alive. Behind me, I heard footsteps. Slow footsteps. Matching my pace. Whenever I walked, they walked. Whenever I stopped, they stopped. I never looked back. Finally, I reached the security office, locked the door, and sat down. My hands were shaking. Then I noticed a patient file sitting on the desk. I had never seen it before. Across the front was a name. Samuel Ward. Samuel Ward. The name felt familiar. I opened the file. Inside was a photograph of a thin man with hollow eyes standing beside a hospital bed. The image was labeled Room 407. As I flipped through the pages, I learned that Samuel had been a patient decades ago. Then I found the final report. Samuel Ward disappeared from room 407 during the night. He was never found. A handwritten note at the bottom of the page caught my attention. We still hear footsteps outside room 407 after midnight. Suddenly, my radio crackled again. Static filled the speaker. Then the same weak voice returned. Please help me. I stood frozen. The voice continued. He won't let me leave. The transmission ended. At that exact moment, every light in the office went out. Darkness swallowed the room. Outside the door, a shadow moved across the frosted glass. Then another. Then another. I held my breath. The shadows stopped. One remained standing outside. Watching. The doorknob slowly began to turn. I backed away. The door opened. The hallway beyond was empty. Then I looked down. Wet footprints stretched from the hallway into the office. They stopped directly in front of me. The temperature dropped instantly. My breath became visible. A whisper echoed beside my ear. Before I could move, the hospital intercom suddenly activated. A calm voice filled the building. Patient Samuel Ward has left room 407. The announcement repeated again and again. Then everything fell silent. I checked my watch. 5:59 a.m. 1 minute before sunrise. The first light entered through the windows. The footprints faded. The cold vanished. The whispers stopped. When the manager arrived at 6 a.m., I handed him my keys and quit. Years later, the hospital was demolished. But sometimes, at exactly 3:07 a.m., my phone rings from an unknown number. When I answer, I hear the same exhausted voice. Just 4 words. He's still here with me. Then the call ends.